Dudley J. LeBlanc. He always supported Protestant governors because he knew he could get anything that he wanted.
And those Protestant governors needed his support to carry South Louisiana.
They didn't need to carry it. They needed to get 40%. I mean, they'd get 80 and everything north of Bunkie.
He was a native of Youngsville, outside of Lafayette. He represented Southwest Louisiana for one term in the House of Representatives, beginning in 1924, and then served 4 terms in the state Senate from 1940 to 1964, interrupted twice by unsuccessful runs for governor. Dudley made a profound impact on Louisiana in 3 distinct ways. First, politically. He literally served in elected office from the 1920s to the 1960s.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the news of the
Every
week is
Sunday from 12 to 12:30, Dudley J. LeBlanc had the news in French. And people would stop and turn the radio on, quit eating lunch to listen to Cousin Dud. He gave the news in French, but a lot of times it was interjected with politics.
Secondly, Dudley was proud of his Acadian heritage and was a champion of the French language in Louisiana. This is hard to believe, but it was against the law to speak French in the public schools of Louisiana until late in the 20th century.
Because he elected John McKithen governor, McKithen returned the favor by creating the state agency, CODEFIL, Council for Development of French in Louisiana. And so he was very close to McKithen. And he knew he was going to France for a big Acadian reunion. And he asked McKithen to get him a meeting with Pope Pius XII in Rome. And so here's a photograph of Dudley LeBlanc greeting Pope Pius XII. And shortly after this was taken in 1996, Dudley pulled out a rosary and asked the Pope to bless it. So he has a picture of the Pope consecrating Dudley's rosary. As soon as Dudley got back to Louisiana, he bought 3 cartons of rosaries, and he spent the next 2 years telling women, look, I'm going to give you this rosary. It was blessed by the Pope.
But thirdly, and most importantly, Dudley made his mark as an entrepreneur.
He became a salesman supreme and started several companies. He developed ant poison. Carry-on was for prostate problems. He'd sell toys. He had comics, T-shirts, Hadacol Man. The marketing this man did was just phenomenal, ultimately creating an elixir, 14% alcohol, called Hadacol. As a jokester, they'd ask him, why did you call it Hadacol? He says, I had to call it something. Actually, the name comes from this poster here, Happy Day Company. He started a headache medicine, and so he took H-A-D-A-C-O, and that's how Hadacol comes from, Happy Day Company. What he did, he knew the Cajun diet wasn't the healthiest, and so he used a combination of vitamins that he had gotten from a doctor, and he added 14% alcohol. And at that time, you had blue laws where certain days, and in many places, you couldn't buy alcohol, but you could buy Hadacol. And you could get just as drunk with 14% Hadacol as 14% wine. But he was a genius. He'd do a caravan show that would go all over the country.
The Hadacol Caravan was an extravaganza. It was a variety show, and they had movie stars like Dorothy Lamour, Mickey Rooney, Carmen Miranda, to name a few. And the way to get into the show was with a box top. And my dad used to always say, if you didn't like the show, well, then we will refund your box top.
We selected a housewife from our studio audience, Mrs. Audrey Cooper. Her partner is a special guest, Senator Dudley LeBlanc.
Dudley became a national figure. He was a guest on the Groucho Marx show, You Bet Your Life.
Gertrude, do you know who your state senator is?
Oh, no, I don't know.
Senator, what do you think of a voter who doesn't know who her senator is?
Well, it's not necessarily her fault. There must be something wrong with him because everybody in Louisiana knows who I am.
Well, Senator, do you have any particular political philosophy?
I've always advocated the idea of helping the poor and soaking the rich and make those able to pay the taxes.
Well, do you still believe in that?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Do you still believe in that, Senator?
Oh, I tell you, not so much now.
Well, what caused this sudden change in your political philosophy?
Well, you know, last year I made $5 million.
How did you manage to make $5 million in 1 year, Senator?
Well, you know, I own the LeBlanc Corporation, the maker that makes Hadacol. We manufacture Hadacol.
Hadacol? What's that good for?
Well, it was good for $5 million for me last year.
And that's good enough for me.
Well, the next year it was $25 million. And by the time the Federal Trade Commission came in and shut down the production of Hadacol, Dudley had pocketed a small fortune. What was Hadacol good for? Well, the promotional brochure enclosed in the box said that Hadacol cured diabetes, paralysis, epileptic fits, delirium tremens, neuralgia, migraines, arthritis, rheumatitis, high or low blood pressure, and that rundown condition following colds. Of course, it did nothing of the sort, but at 14% alcohol by volume, it didn't much matter. Bill Niddles and the Dixie Blue Boys performed a little ditty that was Dudley's not-so-subtle way of marketing Hadacol as an aphrodisiac. If we kept playing that song, you'd hear the second verse. I went down to the farm to rest about a week, but the farmer's wife, she started walking in her sleep. She did the Hadacol boogie. Or the third verse. If your radiator leaks and your motor stands still, give her Hadacol and watch her boogie up the hill. It's not hard to see why many see Kuzan Dud as the most interesting Louisianan of them all. Although others might